Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. It just hit me guys that I didn't tell you Happy New Month. Happy New Month. I think 7 days later, but happy New Month. I hope that this month treats you well and I hope that it's fruitful and that it's a productive month. We are currently going through the book of 1 Samuel, chapter by chapter, and it would be nice if you would listen to the end because I will be sharing my personal takeouts of the chapter that we'll be reading today at the end of this recording. Also, kindly subscribe to this channel and click the notification bell so that you never miss any new recording. So today we are going to be reading chapter 13 of 1 Samuel. And I'll be reading from the NLT version, which is the version I always read from, at least for this book. And then again, I'll be sharing my key lessons at the end, so kindly follow through with the story. All right, so this chapter is a continuation of all the things that are happening, the battles that need to be won. Samuel has left them with Israel with their king, and now this king needs to, he needs to do the work of the Lord, which is winning battles. Anyway, let's read. It says, Saul was 30 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 42 years. Saul selected 3,000 special troops from the army of Israel and sent the rest of the men home. He took 2,000 of the chosen men with him to Michmash and the hill country of Bethel. The other 1,000 went with Saul's son, Jonathan, to Gibel in the land of Benjamin. So this guy, first I'm like, what? This guy is 30 and he has a son who is in the army. Like, I'm confused, guys. Maybe at this point he's not 30 anymore. Like, I'm imagining that he's already been king for a while. So I don't know how young Jonathan is, but I'm just like, wow, he has a son who is in the army as well. Anyway, soon after this, Jonathan attacked and defeated garrison of Philistines at Geba. The news spread quickly among the Philistines. So Samuel blew a ram's horn throughout the land, saying, Hebrew, hear this, rise up in revolt. All Israelites heard the news that Saul had destroyed the Philistines' garrison at Geba, and that the Philistines now hated the Israelites more than ever. So the entire Israelite army was summoned to join Saul at Gilgal. The Philistines mustered a mighty army of 3,000 chariots and 6,000 charioteers, and as many warriors as the grains of sand. Philistines are attacking mchezo. They camped at Michmash, east of Bethaven. My goodness, these names. The men of Israel saw that what a tight spot they were in, and because they were very hard placed by the enemy, they tried to hide in caves, thickets, rocks, holes, and cisterns. Let me repeat that. Verse 6, the men of Israel saw what a tight spot they were in, and because they were hard pressed by the enemy, they tried to hide in caves, in thickets, in rocks, in holes, in cisterns. Let me tell you, by the time you're hiding in a cistern, like a sewage, my goodness, things must be thick. Because I don't know whether I'm hiding in a sewage. Some of them crossed the Jordan River and escaped into the land of Gad and Gilead. All right. Meanwhile, Saul stayed at Gilgal and his men were trembling with fear. Saul waited there 7 days for Samuel, as Samuel had instructed him earlier. But Samuel still didn't come. Saul realized that his troops were rapidly slipping away. So he demanded, bring me the burnt offering and the peace offering. And Saul sacrificed the burnt offering himself. This was the biggest mistake that Saul ever made in his leadership, in his kingship, is that he was given an instruction by Samuel. He was told, wait for me 7 days and I'm going to come, and then we're going to do a burnt offering and a peace offering, and then you're going to proceed into war. But this guy, his patience fell. His patience wasn't really good, so he decided to offer the sacrifice himself. It says, just as Saul was finishing with the burnt offering, Samuel arrived. And Saul went out to meet and welcome him. But Samuel said, "What is this you've done?" Samuel replied, "I saw my men scattering from me, and you didn't arrive when you said you would. And the Philistines at Michmash were ready for battle. So I said, the Philistines are ready to march against us at Gilgal, and I haven't even asked for the Lord's help. So I felt compelled to offer the burnt offering myself before you came." "How foolish!" Samuel exclaimed. "You have not kept the command of the Lord your God gave you. Had you kept it, the Lord would have established your kingdom over Israel forever. But now your kingdom must end. For the Lord has sought out a man after his own heart. The Lord has already appointed him to be the leader of his people, because you have not kept the Lord's command." So Samuel left Gilgal and went on his way, but the rest of the troop went with Saul to meet the army. They went up to Gilgal to Gibeah in the land of Benjamin. When Saul counted the men who were still with him, he found 600 were left. He only has 600 men. Did you hear the numbers the Philistines have? My goodness. So Saul and Jonathan and the troop with them were staying at Gibeah in the land of Benjamin. And the Philistines set up camp at Michmash. 3 raiding parties soon left the camp of the Philistines. One went north towards Ophrah in the land of Shaul, another went west to Beth Horon, and the third moved towards the border above the valley of Zibeon near the wilderness. There were no blacksmiths in the land of Israel in those days. The Philistines wouldn't allow them for fear that they would make swords and spears for the Hebrews. So whenever the Israelites needed to sharpen their plowshares, their pickaxes, their axes, or sickles, they had to take them to the Philistines' blacksmith. Oh, yay. The charges were as follows: 1/4 of an ounce of silver for sharpening a plowshare or a pick, 1/8 of an ounce for sharpening an axe or making a point of an ox guard. So on the day of the battle, none of the people of Israel had a sword or spear except for Saul and Jonathan. As in those, first there are 600, and then they only have two weapons. My goodness. Hey, there are things that don't sound good. The pass at Michmash had meanwhile been secured by a contingent of Philistine army. So they're basically surrounded, and they only have 2 weapons. And that's the end of the chapter. So the main event of this chapter was that Saul tried to seek God's favor with an authorized burnt offering when Israel's army was outnumbered, weaponless, and afraid. The consequences would be that Saul was going to lose his throne. So the thing is, I wonder if I could have done better if I was Saul. I mean, the Philistines had gathered more men to battle than the Israelites could count. They were weaponless, they were greatly outnumbered, and the Israelites literally hid in caves, thickets, rocks, holes, and cisterns. Dude, by the time you are hiding in a cistern, things are thick. Me, that's what I think. Things are real thick. So Saul didn't know what to do, and Samuel was nowhere to be found. So he took matters in his own hands and offered the sacrifice without Samuel. It may seem like a very insignificant mistake, but Saul's decision revealed the truth about his heart. Instead of putting trust in God's faithfulness, in God's timing, he took matters in his own hands. Now, I have taken matters in my own hands a couple of times. I have ended up in debt just because I didn't trust God that he would provide for me in other ways. I have in the past ended up in the wrong relationships because I was too impatient or because I found it hard to trust God in that area. Being impatient while God is working out a solution is not just about being impatient. It is a trust issue. It's a lack of faith issue. Lack of faith drives us to be impatient with God. It makes us want to help ourselves. It makes us want to take matters in our own hands. I want to challenge you, and even myself, the next time you feel impatient, really interrogate yourself. And what really is the issue? Is it a time issue or is it a trust issue? Is it that the time is running out or is it that you are having a doubt issue? I challenge you to wait on God. It may hurt, you may look foolish, but I promise you it will end well. It always ends well. I read a verse that really encouraged me this week, and it was in Psalms. It's in Psalms 34, verse 19. In the New Living Translation, I've had this verse before in other versions. It says, "Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all." That's what the other versions say. But the NLT version, I loved it because it just hits differently. It says, "The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time." I was like, I read that verse and I was like, oh, this verse doesn't sound familiar, until I was reading it in another version. I was like, oh, I know this verse. Many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. But I really love the NLT, or it really spoke to me that day. The righteous person faces many troubles, but the Lord comes to the rescue each time. So whether you feel like the time is running out, whether you feel like you're drowning in your own troubles, rest assured that the Lord comes to the rescue each time. This is your girl Wakeji Kamore, and this has been Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. See you tomorrow.